Hey everybody, I'm Sin.
And I'm Nick.
And this is This Week in Cars. So, This Week in Cars is a show with me and my buddy Nick, and we are just diehard auto enthusiasts, and we cover the latest headlines, and we quiz each other with topics about random cars and about what we would buy. So, the format's changed for this episode. We've decided to mix things up. We're going to give you the latest car news first, and then we're going to follow it up with a Would You Buy section where we propose two different cars that are maybe priced too good to be true, or just very affordable price cars where we ask each other if we would purchase it or maybe think about purchasing it. And then the last section, the final section, is a mystery section where Nick gives me a link and I check it out, and we just talk about whatever he sends over. So it could be anything. So getting started, the latest topics. Nick, you're in charge of the headlines this week. There was some pretty big news. I had a peek over at it. The new Accord has been spied, and more news about the Civic Type R. So let's talk about the Accord first.
Yeah, so this week is just quick. It's about basically all the spy photos that we're kind of seeing. So it's the Honda Accord, the Lamborghini Aventador, which will be a fun topic, and then the Civic Type R, which keeps getting leaked. So we're getting a little bit more information each time, and we keep seeing all these cool photos of them. So first topic is the Honda Accord. So I sent you some of those renderings that are based off the spy photos, which I think the renderings look awesome. What do you think? Top of the dome.
I agree. It's just one of those things. They're definitely going for that family look. So all of the cars in the Honda lineup moving forward have this kind of beluga whale look, if you want to call it that. It looks like the new Civic. It's just a bigger version of the new Civic. Now, I was a huge fan of the outgoing Accord. I really like that body style. I know it's one of those things. People either love it or they hate it, but I actually...
Well, it kind of had that fastback look, didn't it?
It does have that fastback look. Now, what's disappointing about that is it has that fastback look, but it's not a liftback. It's just a regular notchback, regular trunk. So I think these cars these days, added utility means a lot, just because people are basically all buying SUVs, and if they're buying cars, most of the cars
gotta have that functionality.
They gotta have the functionality. That's why they don't really sell coupes anymore. That's so.
And that's why they don't sell two doors anymore. Barely any, right?
Exactly. There's not a lot. Yeah. So it's like, if it had that liftback, then I think that would. A lot of people that were kind of on the fence about getting an SUV or like a sedan, I think it could attract that crowd. As small as that crowd could be, I think there's something there. And I think that's the reason why you see so many like sportback cars now. Whether it's the 4 Series Grand Coupe, the A5 Sportback, or
the Stinger.
Kia Stinger. The A7 was a big hit, and is
A5 Audi has one now.
Yeah.
Which that car is beautiful.
The VW Arteon. Yeah.
Arteon, yeah.
Arteon, yeah. So, missed opportunity. But I think...
I agree.
The styling will be good. It'll sell as well as an Accord should sell. That's the thing. The sales for the Accord and the Camry, they've been going down. So, now they're competing. Basically, it's the Sonata with the Kia K5.
Yeah.
The Camry and the Accord, those are basically it. And
I really like what they did with the Camry. I think like all the TRD version, it's a little gimmicky, but I think what's the one right below it, the SE, where you can get the TRD wheels, but you don't get the wing and all that stuff. I think that car is pretty good.
XE, XLE,
or is it the XE? Yeah. Something like that. But I think that car looks pretty sharp for being a Corolla.
Yeah, I mean,
they've injected a little bit of personality, a little bit of sport into something that's classically been so boring for the last freaking 20 years, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's a tough sell for me. I mean, personally, I've never been kind of that guy in that car market. So, I think for you and me, these types of cars don't appeal to us at all. As far as like, it's not something that we would consider buying. Yeah. However, if they added that liftback, that would change things considerably.
And if they made it a little bit more sporty, and I think there's rumors that they're going to have to put the 2-liter in here because it's a big car, you know.
I think it'll be very similar to what they have now. So it's going to be 2 engine options, the 1.5 and the 2-liter turbo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the base will have the 1.5 turbo, and then the sportier version, the more powerful version, which is basically the replacement for the V6 is the 2.0 turbo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a for what it is, it's a decently quick car. And the last generation came in a 6-speed. So it makes you wonder if they're going to release the new version in a 6-speed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have. My buddy's got one.
I would consider buying that. If
yeah,
that was a liftback too, man, that would be. That might be a little hidden gem.
It would be a hidden gem if it was a liftback, 2-liter turbo, manual.
But man, a manual with a 2-liter turbo, that thing would probably.
It scoots.
Move.
It scoots.
Yeah.
It for what it is. I have a friend. She's got one, and it's modded. She's got a stage 2 tune on it. Yeah, it's just stage 2 tune, intake, and just lowered. But it's quick.
No downpipe.
No, it doesn't. For the stage 2, I forget what tuner it is, but it's a flash tune, and apparently you don't need it. And she's making around stock Civic Type R horsepower. So,
whoa.
Only thing is, those cars, they don't have like an LSD or anything, so you do get. It's not, it's sportier, but it's not
great handling.
So it's kind of hindered it a little bit. And it's so weird because if they gave it an LSD, and it had a 6-speed manual, then it could be like a sporty proposition for people wanting something a little bit bigger than an SI. Because it is significantly more expensive than the Civic Si. Like we're talking like 25% more. So it'll probably be $40,000 out the door if you really deck it out. But actually, you know what? I take that back. Because the Accord Sport 2.0 liter, it's like $27,000.
I would think you could get it for 35 or less.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just wish that they would do more and offer more sporty options, especially right now. I think it's more desired than ever. I think, it's like if you're gonna go with a gasoline car, you're going with a gasoline car for a reason, because.
Right.
This whole transition move towards EV, I think the EV sector is attracting a lot of people, especially in this price bracket where they're it's like a mid-30s and up car. Because if it's mid-30s and up car, why don't you put an extra 10-15 grand and get an EV car, and then you get whatever EV benefits there are with that car. I'm talking about most households just being able to charge at home and take advantage of cheaper electricity versus fuel costs these days. Right now, we're going through that spot where gas is so expensive that people are looking at more fuel economical options. So that's why right now, I never heard it more now than ever where everybody's like, man, I should get an EV car. Because gas is so expensive.
You see it all the time. I get advertised like 4 times a day for Toyota's hybrid. They keep saying, oh, gas is so high, you don't have to worry about it now with this hybrid, plug-in hybrid. It seems like they got quite a few of them. But anyway, on to the next topic. The
Civic
new...
Type R?
No, not yet.
Okay. Aventador.
Yes.
Right.
So the Aventador is finally getting a replacement. The Aventador has been in production for over 10 years. Exactly 10 years, but it has that famous V12 it is their flagship V12 that Lamborghini produces, and of course they use it for a bunch of other things, right? Like the Cyan, and for the Countach, and the Countach is a little bit different. It has the half hybrid motor.
Yeah.
So the big question is, I'm sure this will be a V12, right? It has to be, because it's their traditional. They have to do a V12. That's just the thing Lamborghini does. They got their V10s, they got their V12s.
Yeah. It has to have more cylinders than the V10 or the Huracan.
Has to be an upsell.
It has to be a step up. So you always get the base plebeian Lamborghini, which has the smaller engine and the regular doors, and then you have the one with the scissor doors in the V12. Of course, they're going through that weird transition phase, so this may be the last V12 that we ever see out of Lamborghini, probably.
I don't know. I really hope we cross this plane where people just accept that there's always going to be gasoline-powered cars, and hopefully the government leaves them alone. And they say this is specifically for sports cars, right? And there's some sort of more integration with electric. One can hope.
Yeah, maybe it's like a small volume exception, where these kind of exotic car manufacturers can kind of escape a loophole through just because the volume isn't nearly as much.
And the volume on these is not crazy already.
Yeah,
So, but I'm super excited. I love the Aventador. I think the one biggest complaint that a lot of people that have Aventadors is the single clutch transmission. They have the flappy paddle, the F1 style, but that thing, I mean, you see in every single video that it just hammer shifts because it's not a dual clutch. It's not smooth. It's not like the V10.
We've talked about this. I think there's I have no problem with the single clutch.
There's an allure to it.
I know that, so it's lighter. I know that it's not as easy to drive or as refined as a dual clutch, but it has so much character, and and the way that it hits you when you shift, there's something about that makes the car that much more exciting to get into. It's more of an event,
It's the Aventador.
So, but I get, it's gonna be probably a dual clutch or an automatic transmission. Who knows? If they're gonna go for that refinement, and maybe that's what makes the Aventador even more desirable, is it's gonna give
the non-refinement.
Is the non-refinement. I mean, they've made plenty of them. I mean, it's been in production for 10 years or something like that. So,
but it's interesting. It's interesting in these photographs. You can see that they have taped on rear brake lights, and they look like the old ones, but you can see right above it that they're very thin, all the way across that back shoulder, or whatever you want to call it. But it's got the four exhaust vibes, so you got to think it still has to be a V12. It's probably more than likely. And now thinking about it, the Countach only came out 2 years ago now, and that was probably
I think it was announced, but I think people have just started taking deliveries. But they only made less than 200 of them, so it's not like.
But no, what I'm saying is it's more like a special. Probably doing this edition of the engine as the next edition of the Aventador.
Let's see. That Countach, I think it's like almost $3 million.
It's just crazy.
Stupid.
Lamborghini literally just prints money. They're like, oh, we'll just do a special edition, and we're only going to make a few. It's going to sell out because people know that they're so rare. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they like the car or not. Because I thought, I mean, it definitely has the throwback look. The different angles, definitely more techy looking. It's the homage to the original Countach, which I had a poster on my wall.
I had a poster. I still have a poster of the original Countach. Yeah, so I'm excited. The Aventador is probably the best looking Lamborghini, in my opinion, that they've ever produced. So it's going to be a hard thing to it's going to be hard to follow up something as beautiful as the Aventador.
Yeah, this new one kind of has a Huracan type look. It's obviously a lot wider, but it looks a lot shorter than the Aventador going out. So,
like the Aventador, even after 10 years, to me, it's still
looks
the best
brand
looking.
new.
It still looks good, and it's still the best looking Lamborghini, and it looks even better than all of their limited edition Lamborghinis, in my opinion. There's just something so good looking about that shape. They've just nailed every proportion about that car. It's perfect.
I remember seeing one in person. It was Andy Frisella's in South County of St. Louis, and he had a white one, and rolling through a stoplight, and it was so emotional. Like the car is just so, and this was back in, like 2014 or something like that.
Yeah.
But God, it just sends chills down your spine. It's so, I think any non-car person can look at that and be like, that car is insane.
Yeah, I see so many Huracans now. It doesn't feel special to me.
I 100% agree. I think the Huracan it's not played out, but it's the Ford of the Lamborghini. You know what I'm saying? It's the everyday car.
Yeah, I see them all the time.
Which those cars are amazing in their own right. Because what they're doing is these twin turbo. You've heard of these twin turbo kits. You send them off, get them twin turboed. Those engines are so good. They're so well built that these companies, they warranty them for 1,500 horsepower on stock internals.
Yeah, Hefner Racing, Underground Racing.
Yeah, all they do is slap turbos on them and throw bigger injectors and an intercooler on it. And dude, you make so much power because when we've talked about this before, they have both direct injected and port injection. So they can just dump so much fuel in there, and all you do is add boost and you have unlimited power. And they Underground Racing has like a 3,000 horsepower Huracan.
I actually didn't know that they were both directed and port injected.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah, beautiful car. Nothing against it. I think it looks good. I just see it so much that it doesn't evoke the same emotion as like other cars. That even cheaper cars like the R8. I get more excited to see an R8 than
I 100% agree. And I think the R8 is way more muscular and it looks like a freaking bodybuilder. You know. I mean, again, the Lamborghini, the Huracan looks fantastic, and it's. I don't want to say played out, but it's a dull version of a Lamborghini.
It's kind of like they sold so many Gallardos, kind of similar to the Gallardo. Gallardo doesn't really do much.
They're still awesome cars. I
still
can't
awesome.
agree more.
Yeah. So, last topic for the
your
latest
favorite.
All right. So I did a rendering of the new CTR, in all the colors so they're gonna be releasing. I mean, it's finally gonna debut like next week. So there's some leaks on the latest colors. It's like Sonic Gray, Boost Blue, Rally Red. Basically, the
Crystal
colors
Black Pearl, Rally Red, Sonic Gray. Sonic Gray Pearl and Boost Blue. And they don't know about the Phoenix Yellow yet, or at least it hasn't been.
That'll be a limited edition color, probably kind of how it was this time, or with the FK8. So essentially the same colors that the FK8 came out with. No numbers, no stats. We're going to have to wait. That is a car that I'm seriously, if I can get it for MSRP, because I refuse, it's just a moral thing. I'm not going to buy it for over MSRP, but I will buy that car. I actually, I live chatted with the Honda dealer, and I was like, hey, is there a way to get my name on a list and just like, I want to buy that car and I don't want to pay more than MSRP. And of course,
did you tell them that?
Yeah, dealerships will close over the weekend, and he'll be like, okay, well, I've taken your contact information down. So, yeah. That was today, actually. That was last night, and this morning, yeah. So, I want it.
So you might have one.
I want it. It's the warranty on my BMW expires in 2 years, and I don't like to own BMWs outside of warranty. So, I'm gonna trade it in before. warranty expires on that one. And when I trade it in, I'm going to get a Civic Type R. I made the mistake of not buying the Civic Type R with this last
previous
car
gen?
after. Yeah, so this gen. And it was more of like a money thing, right? So I would have enjoyed the Civic Type R more, and I would have made money if I bought the Civic Type R before the craze, because now if you look at, like, if you go to any site, they're going for well over MSRP. Mm-hmm. So that would have been the smarter move, not only financially, but also just from an enjoyment standpoint, just because I would have enjoyed the Civic Type R way more than the BMW, just because of what it is. So that's it. Let's go on to the next topic.
Man.
All right. So next section is would you buy? So I sent you a link. It's so let me tell you about this M5. So it's the E60 M5. It is an SMG, and okay, it's an SMG, but V10, good condition, good body, pretty good maintenance record. It has had its rod bearings.
Before you go any farther, let's talk about the 4 main points that are failure points for these cars. Why they can be ticking time bombs. Because obviously you're buying this car for the engine. It's amazing. I think it was the first V10 to ever be put into a sedan.
BMW
right.
Sedan?
No, any sedan, I think.
Really?
Or maybe Audi did it. Audi probably did it before that.
I know Audi did it with their RS6, S8, something.
Anyway,
but it is the first V10 BMW.
Mm-hmm. So. And it's said to be a Formula One derived engine, with some people poo-poo. But I have heard from multiple people.
Redline's at 8,500 RPM.
Yes, and I've heard that from multiple people, these things are really tightly spec'd, which is one of the issues why a lot of these things go bad. But there's basically 3 or 4 big issues. One is the rod bearings. One is the SMG transmission, which if you have the Unicorn manual transmission, you don't have to worry about that. But those are so rare now. And those go for basically double what the SMG does.
Gosh, I remember when I there was one that I could have picked up for $25,000 and it had like 60,000 miles. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
And then, of course, in traditional BMW fashion, I think the head gaskets are eventually go bad.
Always head gaskets. There's always some oil thing.
Mine went literally at 100,000 miles exactly.
What's the fourth?
The throttle cable or throttle actuators. They apparently are faulty at a certain point. But anyway, this guy, it looks like he's at 80K, he did rod bearings. At 100K, he did the SMG pump, which I don't know if that means everything in the SMG transmission, or I don't know exactly what goes wrong with the SMG transmission. But the SMG is the paddle shifters, but it's not a dual clutch.
Looks like he did all the major servicing.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty crazy.
So go down the list of all the things that he's done, because he's owned it for a while.
Yeah, DSC control module, clutch position sensor, throttle actuators rebuilt, new plugs and coils, which coils always go out on BMWs. I had like 6 coils go out on mine. Transmission flush, differential flush. It says not in a rush to sell, but 121,000 miles for $16,000.
And this was posted in a BMW group, so versus just kind of like open marketplace. So basically, it's like he's trying to offer it to the enthusiast first before versus like trying to pawn it off to a guy that probably doesn't know what he's getting into.
A teenager, right? Because I was one of these dumb young kids. I almost bought one. I saw one online for like, I don't know, dude, it was like crazy. I was like, I had some money to spend and I was like, I could have bought this thing. I think at the time it was like $20,000. I was like, oh man, I could do this. But then I literally did one Google search and it's like, these engines are ticking time bombs, literally.
So the fact that it's already had its rod bearings done, I think that's a big one.
Yes.
That's probably the thing that kind of gives you a little bit more peace of mind if you were going to get into it. The interior is the ivory, which, like a light tan.
This spec sucks.
It's not the most
white
beautiful
on
spec,
white,
but it's white. I think I like white. It looks good. Now, there's one picture in there that kind of scares me a little bit. Can you see it? Do you see it?
almost there.
Look at the picture of the front of the car. You see something missing there?
Yeah, he's got the tow hook.
Tow hook cover off or missing. So that means it must have been towed.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's been towed, something must have happened that caused it.
I'm sure this thing's been towed multiple times in its life.
Yeah. So
not that I'm saying that it's been wrecked, but it says clean title. You could run a Carfax, but
so knows? What'd you buy? What'd you buy?
For $16,000 and all that's been done.
You probably offer 15 and you take it.
I was just gonna say I'd do 15 and that would be good for me.
So
put it in the garage, drive on Sunday.
Yeah, it's one of those cars I definitely would test drive and get a PPI. I've driven like so many of these guys. You'll get in the car and go, "Oh, you can't test drive it." And it's like, why would I? It's like unless you have the cash in hand, which I get, but at the same time,
I'm all for the cash in hand. That's reasonable.
Okay, so that's a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, I would consider it. Given what's done to it for $15,000, that's not bad.
If I'm not at that point in my life yet, but I will be probably in 10 to 15 years where I would start to build a collection. And if you can scoop up something like this for $16,000, drive it once a month, like hell yes.
If the body is in really good condition, if he's taking care of it, I would do a PPI. I would run all the codes, and then I would consider it. So I guess
beautiful car. Beautiful car.
Timeless. And I saw one that just today. So they're still driving around. I still see them.
I see them quite often.
So maybe they are more reliable than we think they are. And maybe it's just a bunch of things on the internet that is out there just to scare people. I don't know. I agree. My friend that's a master mechanic, master tech, he does every time I go to the shop, he's got like a ton of M5s out there, M5s and M6s, and they're all not running. So anyways, there's truth to that.
The rumors are true.
The rumors are true. So
all right, which one we want to do next?
Okay, so let's do the other one.
The Bentley 2006 Bentley Continental Flying Spur. Dude, this thing is a monster.
2006. It's I already know the answer, but it's interesting that all these Bentleys that you see for sale, like none of them are over 100,000 miles. They're always like 80,000 miles or 60, 70, 80. Yeah, but 80,000 miles. Give it the description.
83,000 miles. Obviously, an automatic transmission. It says it's clean title. It has the 6.0 liter W12. It's all-wheel drive. It has an upgraded Tesla screen in it. Has aftermarket wheels, wrapped matte white, 83,000 miles, runs and drives great. Financing is available. Price, $31,995. I already know the answer too.
No, I wouldn't touch it with the 10-foot pole.
But, dude, for some reason, I have this feeling that this thing would be stone cold reliable. I think these yeah, dude. I don't know why, but I think I've heard before, like the W2s, like they were engineered pretty well, and it's like it's very similar to, I think who else makes the Ws? The
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen, yes.
Phaeton.
Which I think they have to be relatives, right? With this thing.
I mean, it's gonna share a lot of VW parts, so as far as like if you can wrench on it, it probably wouldn't be too bad to keep up with it.
But still, even for a 2006, this is a good looking car. Like, I remember seeing these back in the day, and I was like, damn, this thing is ballin'.
It's got
Bentley does them right. Yeah, Bentley does all their big body cars right. Mm-hmm. The ones now, man, the new ones are they're just stunning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know who would be in the market for this car.
Yeah, and that's way overpriced. Say that was $21,000.
Yeah.
Man, that would be probably more like it.
I feel bad for whoever probably ends up purchasing it, because I feel like if you buy that car, you're trying to make a statement, but you don't really have the means
of course
to really afford a Bentley. So it's one of those like financial traps.
Of course.
Because who's gonna be able? Yeah. So, and also it's been customized, so the electronics have been messed with.
Mm-hmm.
Aftermarket wheels are wrapped, so you know that whoever. I
think mechanically, I'm not talking on the interior or anything like that. I think with this engine, it's change the oil and she's good to go.
If it was completely stock, maybe.
Yeah.
Even then, I wouldn't consider it. I wouldn't buy it, but
yeah. That is way overpriced.
All right. I just wanted to throw those out. Before
we go to the mystery car, no, go to the one I sent you right above that.
Let's see. Oh, okay.
One of my favorites.
So this is Nick's, one of Nick's favorites, and I have so many memories because this car has been around for so long.
Yes.
I have so many memories. Like even from just going, when I used to be a mall rat. Maybe not. Yeah, mall rat. What is this? 2013. Like just being around, the ropes at like on a mall display, but beautiful car. So
Pininfarina design. It's still stunning, and it's one of those cars that it looks a little bit dated right now, but I think, I mean, dude, it's got hips. It has sex appeal.
It does, and this was Maserati Gran Turismo 2013. This was during the time when it was essentially a Ferrari.
Yeah, Ferrari owned this. It has a 4.2 liter V8, but it doesn't sound like a Ferrari. And this is, without a doubt, probably the best stock sounding car of all time. And I've read this multiple places that Maserati actually designed the exhaust to be erotic towards women, to actually turn women on. If you've heard them, I mean, it's literally sounds so pure. Sounds like sex.
Okay. All right.
But it sounds different than, it's not your standard high-pitched Ferrari. It's actually made with, it's the same engine as whatever the 4.58s. They might have had this or something before that.
4.58s had the flat plane crank. Is this a flat plane crank V8?
That's what I was saying. This is the cross plane crank. So it's the same exact motor, same specs and everything, but this is cross plane. So it's going to sound like a traditional muscle car. And man, it's a tuned exhaust, and it is the best sounding stock car ever made.
Yeah, because the 458 like red lines way past 8,000. So
I take that back. I don't think it's the 458. I can't remember which one it is. It's because isn't the 458 twin turbo?
No. The 488 is twin turbo. 458 was the last naturally aspirated mid-engine Ferrari.
Then this might have the same engine.
Similar. But it's probably similar. Ferrari.
No. It's like everything's the same minus the crankshaft. So that's why it has that super deep growl.
34,000 miles.
34,000 miles, which is nothing. These things are pretty reliable as far as I can tell. The one thing people complain about most is the transmission. It has a single clutch transmission. It's the F1 style, and it shifts it takes a while. They're not quick shifting at all.
It's probably rough too.
Yeah, it's rough, but it'll blip on the downshift, it sounds awesome.
So 2 owners, 31 grand.
Mm-hmm. With 34,000 miles. And my favorite part, I'm not a big convertible guy at all, but dude, if you have a convertible with that sound,
with this exhaust, okay.
Dude, that is a absolute winning combination.
Black on black though?
I know it's not the best color. They have some. Actually, they don't even have that great of colors in this car. But
just parked in front of a really nice house, though.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's one of those cars you could get. There's so many of these on the market for around this price, low mileage, under 50,000. One of my favorite specs of this car is
MC Stradale.
Yes. With the crazy side strakes, like the fenders have like this like a vent in them or something. It just looks so aggressive, and the front bumper is way more aggressive.
I think they're a little bit lower, and the exhaust is center mount too. And
the wheels are more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so but would you or would you not?
31 grand. You know what? I would if I were to get into this car. 31 grand. This is kind of weird.
I think it's one of those ones where if you drive it, you'd be like, it is 100% a bargain because you're getting so much. It's not a crazy fast car.
You're right. You're getting so much, and the one that I would like is 50% more as far as like money that I have to put down to buy. So yeah, this is a pretty good bargain proposition. And once you get into like the mid 40s and mid 50s, it's a completely different territory.
It is.
Yeah.
100%.
So once you get into the mid 50s, then you're talking about Evora. And you're talking about Aston Martin Vantage. So,
but dude, nothing has the swag that this thing has.
You're right. There's something
you're gonna
about
put the top down. You're gonna cruise, down Main Street to some small town or some big town or some mall.
The only thing is,
and you're gonna turn heads, and it's gonna sound amazing.
Yeah, I just hate these wheels, and this is one of those cars. Like, it does look good, but whenever you picture somebody in your head driving this car, you think of like an old man.
Douchey, yeah, 100%.
Douchey old man. And then if you were to see like someone like me or Nick in it, you'd be like, daddy's money, right?
So, okay, I have a proposition. I think this car would be awesome to have in like 10 years because at that point in time, it'll start to look dated, but it has the Pininfarina design, and then it starts to become cool again. It starts to become nostalgic. At this point, it's not
Pininfarina.
At this point, it's not in style anymore, but it's in that weird limbo phase where it's not old enough to be desirable. But it will be one of those classically good-looking cars, best-sounding car ever. I think in 30 years, or not even that, 15 years, this would be the car to have.
Except for not this particular version, because everybody's going to be going for it. Yeah.
Going for what?
The other spec.
The MC Stradale?
Yes.
Yeah, but this is still, dude, a beach cruiser.
All right, I get it. All right.
This is a car you'd have at your vacation home.
Okay. All right. I don't know.
I'm super excited about this one.
All right, I have no idea what this link is. Okay. Click in it. Click.
There we go.
Click. Cars and bids. Wow. Saab 9.3 Turbo.
X Sport Sedan.
I don't know all about the Saab cars, but one of my friends in high school was such a big Saab nerd.
That's the only way you know about it.
I don't know enough about these cars, but I know that they've always been and before you kind of give me or spout your knowledge on this car, this is what I know from just somebody from the outside, right? So they've always been kind of this like European sport luxury brand, kind of similar to like Volvo, but sportier. Don't know what country this originated in. If I had to guess, Sweden. So also Volvo. Okay. Volvo is also a Swedish car brand. I know GM bought them.
But let me just say, they make some of the ugliest cars on the planet.
Yes. This and they had one of the better looking ones.
Yes, it kind of looks like a Chevy Cobalt though.
Yeah, versus like kind of the old school ones that just
look like odd, shoes.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, they had awful marketing campaigns. Do you remember one of their final marketing campaigns before? I think it was honestly the
plane thing. They do a lot with planes, right? Yeah.
Born from Jets. Dude, it was the dumbest commercial that made absolutely no sense. And after that, they shortly went under.
And I remember their partnership
which I thought was hilarious because I never forgot how stupid that commercial was.
I remember their partnership with Subaru where they had an SUV and they also had basically like a WRX, right?
This might have been their WRX.
Really? Is this the same spec?
So what blew my mind was I didn't know anything about these cars. I knew about Saab, obviously.
Oh, this is a turbocharged V6, so it's actually not.
Hold on. It's 6-speed manual, all-wheel drive, turbocharged V6. Dude, that's a unicorn.
Yeah.
It's got 78,000 miles. There's 4 days left on this bidding, but right now it's bidding for $12,900.
Okay.
Which I'm sure it'll go for quite a bit higher, but I wouldn't think much more than 15.
Really? You don't think it's going to go more than 15, considering how rare this car is?
Yeah, it's starting to get in that weird phase where it's old enough to start being rare. But, I mean, dude, this is basically a hot hatch that everybody's geeking out about, right?
What's Doug's take on it?
He says, this Saab 9.3 Turbo X is the most special version of the Swedish sedan. It's one of just 600 examples produced, and it boasts a powerful turbocharged V6 along with all-wheel drive. This one is equipped with a desirable 6-speed manual transmission, and it touts the touring and cold weather packages, gorgeous 18-inch wheels. I don't think they're gorgeous. A sunroof, and more. It's also finished in the only color available for these, sinister jet black metallic, which I've heard is like, it has like purple undertones, and it has obviously metallic, like the name suggests. It's really a neat car, is what he said, which I think is hilarious.
The black looks good, though. It does look like a nice black.
It looks like it's been maintained really well, too.
It looks like it's been ceramic coated.
So, hear me out. I think this car is ugly. There's no doubt about it. I think it looks like a Chevy Cobalt from that side profile.
Yeah. It's
probably a 3 Series, right? Because they made a 9.3, which is smaller than the 9.5. But man, this would be a freaking awesome car to have. All-wheel drive. That's all you have to say. It's all-wheel drive manual. Like that is
like the windshield, the misters, the water jets. It's got 3 of them. That's weird. Quirky. That's quirky. That's a Doug thing.
It's very Doug DeMuro. But the interior looks freaking spotless.
Looks like they don't have kids, so that passenger and the rear seats are impeccable.
So I was watching videos online about these. You can do stage 3, upgrade your turbo. It's a top mount turbo, so it's really easy. Downpipe, exhaust, tune, injectors, and these will handle 500 to 600 horsepower.
Yeah, but if something goes wrong, like, where would you find the parts?
But yeah, sir. I mean, there's quite a few people around me that could probably service these, but
yeah, it's a good link, man. Good link. Cool. I totally
So-
forgot about these cars.
I would buy it. It's on my list.
You would. 15 grand?
I would.
Okay. All right. So that's
There
it.
you go.
That covers this episode. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let us know what you guys think. Would you buy this Saab? Would you buy the Maserati? What do you think about the Maserati? Would you buy a used M5 E60 M5 with the V10 engine? And also, what do you think about the new Type R? Are you excited? Let us know. Join us for the next episode. We're going to try to crank at least one of these out every week, if not two. See you later.